If you're ever visiting Boston Light in Cohasset, Massachusetts, beware. Beneath the crashing waves and the historic stone tower lies something ancient, dark, and deeply hungry. Long before any lighthouse stood on these rocks, the indigenous Quonahassitis tribe knew better than to linger here after dark. They spoke of a terrifying demon that dwelled in the granite ledges surrounding the point, a malevolent spirit of power and fear they called a Hobomock. It was not a ghost. It was not a legend meant to frighten children. To the Quonahassitis, the Hobomock was real, and it was patient. In 1716, when the very first lighthouse in America was raised on these ledges, the settlers who built it dismissed the old warnings as superstition. They would not dismiss them for long. The first keeper to live at the station was a devout, hard-working man who had tended the light faithfully for 2 years. Then, one calm September morning, in seemingly untroubled waters, his small boat capsized without warning. He drowned within sight of his own front door, along with his wife and 2 of his children, who had been sailing home with him from church. Witnesses on the shore said the water that day was glass still, no wind, no storm, just a keeper and the ledges, and something beneath the surface that pulled him under and would not let go. A young poet at the time was so struck by the tragedy that he wrote a mournful ballad about it. Verses that spoke of a darkness in the harbour that took what it wanted and gave nothing back. But the drowning was only the beginning. When the second keeper died at his post years later, he left behind 2 young assistants to manage the station alone. They were terrified, trapped on a rock barely large enough to stand on, with the open Atlantic on every side, and whatever was lurking outside the tower walls. They said the footsteps started first, heavy, deliberate steps circling the base of the lighthouse at night, when no boat could have landed and no person could have climbed the rocks. Then came the cries. A girl's voice, sobbing somewhere out on the ledges, calling for help that never came. The same ledges where, generations later, keepers would still hear her on foggy nights and swear the sound moved closer to the tower with every hour. Decades passed. Keepers came and went. Some dismissed the stories. Others refused to spend a single night alone on the island. One keeper's wife, left alone during a thick summer fog while her husband lay sick with fever, later swore that the foghorn's engine roared to life entirely on its own, no hand near the switch, and that a pale light illuminated a figure standing motionless at the edge of the rocks, watching the tower before it simply wasn't there anymore. Even today, with the light fully automated and Coast Guard keepers still stationed on the island, the last manned lighthouse in America, those who stay the night report the same things their predecessors did 300 years ago. Cold spots that move through sealed rooms, doors that unlatch themselves, the distinct, unmistakable feeling of being watched from the granite ledges below, exactly where the Quonahassitis once said the Hobomock made its home. Historians will tell you it's coincidence, tragic accidents, isolation playing tricks on tired minds. But the Quonahassitis knew this shoreline long before any tower rose from it, and they had a name for what waited in the rocks: hungry, ancient, and very much awake. So if you ever find yourself sailing past Boston Light on a still, quiet night, and the water looks just a little too calm, you might want to keep rowing. Visit drhydeslab.com for all your Halloween and spooky needs. Until next time, keep your eyes on the shadows.
You never know what you'll find.